Thomas Dietrich ran away with it. It was, I believe, 9 of the previous 16 Phoenix Opens had gone to a playoff, and I think Brandon was on there talking about saying, we're sort of due for somebody to run away with it. He wins by 7. He birdied the last 4 holes on Sunday. Congrats to him. Very cool to see the family running out on the green. I saw a couple. I think it was McIntyre and another Euro. We're kind of waiting for him on the 18th green. So always a very cool scene. We had Daniel Berger, who's been out for years, really. I think a year and a half he was out with back. He had back injury. Back injuries are just completely debilitating. He finished tied for second. That gets him into the first elevated event that he will play in since he was out with all of his back surgeries. And then Jordan Spieth. Jordan Spieth finished tied for 4th. He was sort of the ratings guy, the popular player, the PIP player that was really in the mix and needed to come out and start really hot. Never really kind of got it going, but he had a kind of a classic Spieth, incredible par, and I think it was the 11th hole from underneath a bush. He hit a lefty putter and then hit a wedge over there tight and made like a little snake of a putt. So Spieth kind of doing Spieth things, but yeah, final round when somebody wins by 7, usually not the most electric thing.
Yeah, no, not the most electric leaderboard, but you did mention Jordan Spieth, and having him involved is important because he does do very odd things like the backhanded putter. It's funny, like we have conversation on this podcast all the time about how can we make golf more interesting? How can we get more eyeballs on it? Is it pace of play? Is it we got to get the talent pool back together? I think that's obviously part of it. But golf is this thing called Jordan Spieth that when he's around, people just want to watch him. And he's transcendent. Like people who really don't follow golf all that closely know who Jordan Spieth is. I think it's because he was such a phenom early on. He won those Masters. Like it's like, holy shit, this guy's 22 years old. And he's the next guy. He's like, and everybody's watching. Everybody loves a young phenom player. And he's obviously had a weird career kind of since then. But anytime he's involved still, and now he's 30 years old, he's got 2 kids, he's got a whole family. But even still, when he is involved in something, it is far more interesting. So to add to those conversations, it's like we need all the best, interesting players involved in as many tournaments as we can get. And the healthier Jordan Spieth is, and the more leaderboards that he's on, the more interesting the sport of golf is going to be. That is what this whole tournament pretty much showed me. Congrats to Dietrich. That's great that he won. But having Jordan Spieth emerge again as a guy who might be able to be on a bunch of leaderboards going forward is nothing but good for the game of golf because he might not win all of them. He's probably not going to win all of them. But every once in a while, a couple times a tournament, the camera's going to cut to him and he's going to be under a tree. And you're going to be like, what the is happening? And that is good because when he does that, he doesn't make double. He makes a par, and it's like, how did he do that? Now that clip's going on social. It's like Jordan Spieth did it again. It's a verb, Spiething, going. It's basically like what Phil Mickelson did before the internet, where it was like he's all over the golf course, and somehow he ends up with a good score. So that was my takeaway from this tournament. It's a great tournament, but the more Jordan Spieth can be involved, the better it is for the game of golf. Period.
Jordan Spieth being in the mix is great, and it seems as though it's only February 10th. But it seems as though that this year will be a little bit more parity in the league as opposed to last year because guys are starting to play a little better in tournaments that we're seeing than they did last year. You've got Rory McIlroy, you've got Justin Thomas playing good golf, you've got Jordan Spieth playing good golf, you've got Scotty Scheffler's just coming off an injury, but still, he was up and down.
35 under par.
Hideki's playing good golf. So yeah, last year was the year of Scotty Scheffler. Is this the year that you're going to see? You think about this with other sports leagues where you're like, oh, that was kind of a down year. Like the big names didn't do it. And then you get years where it's Yankees Dodgers in the World Series and you're like, holy, that's a huge season. I think that we might be in store for a big, big season of golf. I really do. I think that there's a lot of guys. You go into a new season in a sport, you're like, if the guys just stay healthy and they play well, our team can do well. And I'm thinking about that with the PGA Tour now. If Rory McIlroy and Justin Thomas and you've got Jordan Spieth, these guys can now contend with a Scotty Scheffler. You might see a big name on this leaderboard every single week, and that's what the PGA Tour needs. You can't have those duds. Yes, Dietrich won. He's not the biggest name of all time. He's not even close to the biggest name, but you had guys in the mix that made it worth watching. Until obviously he shut the door in everyone's face. But if we can have that every single week, that's how the PGA Tour succeeds. You need the best players to play the best golf. That's the stupidest, most simple thing that you'll ever say. I'm sure if they put this clip out on Twitter, everyone's gonna be like, oh, really? Did the best golfers play the best golf? Yeah, but you just need them to show up. You just can't have them be compilers, or like you need them to actually just stay in like relevant. You can't have the Jordan Spieths that go away for a decade, or the Rory McIlroys that haven't won a major in 11 years. We need these names to start making noise.